Yo 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 yo. The cam with the aging filter. Did you not see the earlier stream on the other channel? Like I told you, man, it's weird. This shit makes you look like you're 90. The other one makes you look like you're 19. It's very odd. Very odd. Okay, well, 29. It's not that deep, bro. It ain't that deep. This year, I'm gonna be. Well, I say this year. It's like next month. I'm going to be 28. I'm getting old. Old and moldy. You can't. You could try it. I mean, it. This does wash me out completely. Obviously, right? Oh, that is as dim as it could be. That's very dim. Something like that. I don't know. Looks good for me. So I am trying to build an organ gun. I don't know if I really want to continue building an organ gun. I guess it's fine, but I should maybe do some like infantry. Possibly. Oh yeah, this is fine. I mean, this is low enough to where it's not really hurting my eyes. As long as I can still see what I'm doing, it's fine. That's all that matters. And right now, I can see perfectly as to what I am doing. Yo, yo. It's the inevitable scraping again for 3 years. But at least the organ gun is much easier to make, so this shouldn't be that bad. The gyrocopter was kind of a nightmare. A little bit of a problem. The blades on that thing are an absolute horrific ordeal. I do not wish to do that again. Even though I'm probably going to have to because I want another one. I mean, there's nothing difficult. It's more so tedious. This is definitely not hard to do. It's just trying to get everything is a very long process. And then again, you don't even need to get everything. It's more of just a personal preference if you want to go that far. A lot of it is just patience and the willpower to sit here and do the same thing for hours on end until it's done, which is exactly what's about to happen with this kit. Pretty sure when it comes to the newer kits, things are super easy to build. I haven't built new kits, but like I've seen enough of them. The mold lines aren't nearly as bad. They're very straightforward. Whereas with these older kits, they're a little bit rough. Painting without messing up is the hardest part. I mean, you gotta learn, right? The only way to learn is to mess up. That's the best teacher, is failure. Because once you fail, you can try again doing a different thing, and that different thing might be the key to doing it properly. Okay. Wisdom. I mean, that's pretty common. You can't really get good without actually failing. No one's born perfect. And even then, you can't really be perfect. You could just be, well, damn near it, I guess. The problem with perfection is that it's just not like unless you spend years or months, whatever it may be, doing one thing, you could perfect it, you know? But like even then, I think as an artist, you're never truly satisfied 100% with what you've done. I would even say instead of searching for perfection, the hardest part is putting something down and accepting that it's done. At least for me. I guess through time and like just doing so many different things, you'll learn to kind of just say, fuck it, it's finished. But sometimes that's not the case. Okay. Man, the fact that every single one of these grooves has a fucking mold line is insane. You can literally see them in there. That is so satanic. That is an awful ordeal. Yo, yo. Big fan from Chile. Ah, yes. I go to Tim Hortons. I get the Chile. Chile, very good. Thank you, brother. Yo, yo. Do people eat chili in Chile? Or turkey in Turkey? Is that a thing? Where the fuck did chili even, like, originate from? Not Chile, but Chile. Sounds like some southern U.S. thing. With a bunch of, like, beans and meat. Beans and meat. Delicious. A man need only those two and beer. Cashews. Nuts are good, but they're expensive. Nuts are not cheap. I feel like every time I'm in a grocery store, all of the nuts are never bought. They kind of just sit there forever because they're so overpriced. And when you do buy them, you don't even get that many. They're more of like a luxury product. Human being made thing like lemons mix of different plants. For chili? I mean, chili is just a bunch of different things in like a soup. A flavoring. Chili isn't something you go like... Well, I'm not talking about chilies as in the plant or the... What is it, a vegetable? I'm talking about the food. Yeah, pistachios are very fucking expensive. Way expensive. Pistachios, I remember the only time I'd ever get pistachios were around Christmas as a Christmas gift. That is the only time of year my mother got me pistachios. And now, as is tradition, I usually still get them, and I also get a Terry's chocolate orange. Which is alright, it's pretty good. It's edible. The name Chile is because of the shape of the country. Is it really? That's what it looks like? It's pretty cool. It's based. Terry's chocolate orange is so good. It's really good. Same thing with fucking what are those nut spheres that are like kind of expensive? They've got like hazelnut. It's like a chocolate ball with nuts on top. Yeah, they're way expensive. Only for special occasions will we be eating them. Yeah, Ferrero Rocher. Yeah, that's what it was. Those are fucking good as shit. Those are way good. Again, only really a Christmas thing, but it's great. Okay, I gotta get all those grooves after. I'm too lazy right now. It's a luxury item that you display. Is it really? They sell fucking like $30 large ones at like the grocery store. And they never sell because who the fuck's buying a $30 Ferrero Rocher at like that price in June or July or May or anything that isn't like Christmas? It's not human. Yeah, nuts and ice cream are good, man. Honestly. But again, not something you have every day. Bounty? Is that like a chocolate bar? This song is Get Down. Austrian Death Machine. Get down. Chocolate with coconut? Oh, yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. The only person in this fucking place that eats anything candy-wise is, like, Ivana, and if she gets something, I kind of, like, mooch off it a bit, but I never really get myself anything in particular. It's great, but, like, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like if it somehow manages to enter your fucking house or whatever, like, you'll eat it, but otherwise you just don't buy that stuff. Yeah, people get those cravings. The first thing I wanted after I had COVID was Papa John's. Was never really a fan of Papa John's. Then I had it, and I'm like, damn, this shit is good again. What the fuck? It's the horrible cravings. It wants to adapt from the poison. What? Ingesting more poison? Soft drinks? Your blood's gonna turn into Fanta. You just start oozing liquid. Sugary liquid. If only these kits built themselves. By God, we'd be out of here. We'd be painting up a storm if this built itself. Okay. I refuse to do the insides of these things just yet, just because I know I'm going to take 3 years to do it. So I'm just not doing it. Not for now. What song is this? Meat Grinder. Just about every song is in reference to Predator. Austrian Death Machine. Look at that fucking mold line. Oh my god. It's like really easy to clean up, but Jesus Christ. Is that a thing, buying ready to paint figures? Used figures is a thing, yeah. You can't buy it like officially, but it's a thing. This isn't a fucking mold line, it's a mold mountain. Like your finger can get stuck on this thing. Jeez. Used to be even worse, it used to be metal. Yeah. The metal minis, the War Machines in particular were, a little funky. I don't think I've ever built the previous organ gun, but I have seen the kit. And, if there's any problems with metal kits, good luck. You are spending a lot of time to get that shit done. The Metal Chaos Dragon. I'd have to remember what that looked like. Yo, yeah, buddy. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the metal molds, or the metal sculpts never really fit together well. Like, you'd have to join two halves together, and there was, like, no keys or anything. It was just kind of like two flat joins. And, you know, with what we get today, I feel like that's not as bad. Because what we get today is all push fit, monopose, boring. Like, I don't know. There was a sense of, like, accomplishment building old metal minis. It's not that it matters, obviously, but, like, you could do more with those kits, I found. It's extremely hard to convert monopose minis. I feel like most of the time when people do it, they're just like swapping heads out or swapping arms. It's nothing like too extravagant, but you know. Who knows? No, no, no. Yep. That too. There is that. You basically just need to know how to pin things if you do want to build like larger metal minis, or else you're fucked. Because those things will not last long. Like, your job when building those things is to keep them locked tight. They do not move anywhere. The Blood Bowl stuff is pretty alright. I don't think it's too bad. Oh, you talking about... Wait, they never made a Chaos Dwarf Blood Bowl team, did they, for the new stuff? This has to be like the old metal one? Because I was going to say, the plastics are pretty good. Ew. I don't know about that. I don't think that's very good for you, buddy. Yeah, yeah. As good as the old metal minis are for Blood Bowl, the new ones are absolutely amazing. Whoever is in charge of the sculpting for the Blood Bowl stuff is putting in work. Like, the ideas and everything are really fun. Nah, not really. I gave up on Age of Sigmar. Yo. Age of Sigmar, to me, died when Cities of Sigmar died. And Cities of Sigmar died when they got the new book. So maybe I'll muster up enough, like, willpower to try it. And maybe I'd give the new book a chance, but chances are, if lore is correct and Grombrindle can reunite all the dwarves, then you're most likely just going to get one big dwarf book, which not really interested in, to be honest, but who knows? I have no idea. A lot of AOS deniers have been swayed by the new Skaven shit. Well, yeah, because it just looks like fantasy. No, this is a lot of the process. And I'm building an army right now, so it's even more of the process. Like, chances of me painting anything anytime soon, not happening. I'm someone who does everything in batches, so I'd rather clean up everything, glue up everything, finish mold lines and whatnot, and sand stuff out and fill gaps. Like, I probably won't be painting anything until this is all done on every mini. I would like to get to that point, but when it comes to this hobby, I don't rush anything. Because rushing it is what I did as a child, and now that I'm older and I'm more, um, I guess, thorough in how I want to do things, it's a good sense of direction. I get to kind of do what I know I want. Fuck. The road is very long with a Warhammer army. It takes a very, very long time to even play a 1,000-point game. Unless you're a turbo fucking smurf and you can, like, breeze through everything and paint everything in a weekend. I cannot do that. That is impossible. Maybe as a kid, when I'm like, you know what, I just want to play the game. You'd open up a box on the weekend, you and your buddy would build it in like a day. 20 goblins, 20 great swords, 20 dwarf warriors, whatever it may be. These days, if I was to do that, it would take me probably a few weeks to really build a whole block of 20 troops. Maybe 1 week or so. Thankfully, though, the dwarves don't need many to have a 2,000-point army, so it's not too bad. If I was doing something like goblins, I think we'd be here all day, every day. $2,000 points, and I've never played. You should play. Six armies and I just assemble. I mean, at that point, it's like, what are you doing with it, right? It looks cool on the shelf, but I'd give it a shot. The game is fun. Haven't played the old world, but, like, in general, the games are fun. And it really is a labor of love. Like, if you've got six armies, that's years of work. Years of work that isn't actual work, it's hobbying. It's a hobby. It's leisure time. Okay. I just played against my friend's 700 army this week. 700 points or 700th army? I mean, I guess so. You can display Warhammer just fine, but like, yeah, Gundams are typically only for display. I guess you're right. Gundams. Yo-yo. Yo-yo-yo. Okay, more pieces to scrape. There's like literally no parts to an organ gun, thankfully. There are almost no parts to the gun. Dude, that mold line is vicious. Which demons summon this mold line? Oh, Lee. Jesus Lord. Matt Warden, yeah. I mean, look at that thing. Let me adjust the camera. That is a fucked up thing. But again, you know, the good thing about mold lines is mold lines give you a sense of accomplishment. And that's all they give you. That's the only positive to mold lines. You can look at a kit and say, man, I cleaned the fuck out of that thing. It looks so good. Like, even though the cleanup step of this hobby is so ass, once you're done it all, it's freedom. It is absolute freedom. Yeah. Because there is a big difference in cleaning mold lines and not. And you will absolutely notice a kit that hasn't been cleaned. Be it, it's subjective if you like it or not, but I think for the most part, having all your mold lines cleaned, it looks way better. Obviously. Is this one fucking piece? I can't even tell. Nah, this looks like a shit mold line. I can't tell if this is a mold line. Like, it looks like one, but it also kind of looks like part of the design. I'm not sure. I'm gonna go with a no. That's pretty good. Well, isn't the Skulls event came on recently, right? It was today, no? I did not watch it, but I did see the reveals. They're coming out with that fucking three-headed corn beast. Forgot his name. He had a mini. I can't tell if this is supposed to be this way. Hang on. This kit doesn't even... It even shows the fucking mold lines. What? Never mind. Yeah, Space Marine 2 looks really good. Again, I'm just going to keep saying it. I don't think the multiplayer looks too exciting, but whatever. Gears of War vibes. Yeah, I mean, Gears is sick, though. Gears would lend itself well for a game like that. Yeah. What if it's just Gears of War 40K? Wouldn't that be sick? That'd be fucking awesome. Yeah, I mean, you need like dedicated servers for games like that. If you wanted big scaled battles with like tons of people, there is no way peer to peer. It just wouldn't even be playable. They did peer to peer for fucking like Star Wars Battlefront when it got remastered. And by remastered, I mean removed from like the realm of decency. Fucking full priced game for something worse than the original that's like $5. Pretty terrible. I haven't played yet, but I want to. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just building stuff for the game. I think of all the artillery, the organ gun is probably what you should be taking, but then again, you don't necessarily need it. It's just kind of a fun little thing to have. Right now, no. I know I want 2 gyrocopters, so I've got one done, or at least ready to be like puttied. I'll be probably making another gyro. I'll maybe do like 2 units of Rangers, 2 units of Drakes. I don't know what I want to run for like big blocks of chunky infantry yet. Maybe just like standard dwarf warriors, long beards. Probably no hammerers. If most of the army is going to be like centered around a bit of shooting. But I know for oh, this is the wrong piece. I know for a fact I want Rangers and Iron Drakes for sure. Rangers, Iron Drakes, gyros. Anvil of Doom, maybe. Pretty sure Rangers, like, completely kitted out are pretty good. So I gotta figure out how I want to convert them up with, like, a bunch of great weapons. Which would be dope, because Rangers look fucking awesome. Oh, we're not really sculpting, but thank you, buddy. We are just cleaning up plastic. Jesus. Yeah, good luck with that. That's a lot of fucking shit. Oh, no. That's a lot of monsters. Pretty sure monsters are good right now, no? Like, they're rough to deal with. Metaphor cast demons in 40 days. Undivided monster. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the fuck goes on with 40k. I haven't played 40k in so long. But, you know, whatever's fun, whatever works. I thought you were literally talking about Old World, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. My brain is so fixated on Warhammer Fantasy that, like, whenever someone says anything related to demons, I'm like, oh, okay, fantasy demons? Even though they're the same thing. Yeah, there aren't many characters in Old World right now. Not many. And it's interesting, though, because the demons are supported in every game with the same miniatures in every game. But it's not a new camera. Not yet. What? What are you doing? You're sanding? What do you need? You need something to wipe? Give me 1 second. Hang on. I gotta go in 1 second just to see Ivana. This is gonna need some putty. Not new. Oh, no, I basically I took a bit of time to kind of like figure out what works and what doesn't. I'm still getting a good camera. I'm just using the same webcam right now. Um I was able to situate it in front of me, which is so much better than having it behind me. And it's at a point where it doesn't need to focus. I can kind of just move it up and it shows everything. Right? Closer to the desk was always better. I think I had mine way too far away. I ended up purchasing a new light An army showcase. Whenever I get shit done, sure. I've got a lot of stuff I want to do. So I think initially my goal was to make one of everything just as a display piece. And then I realized, having seen enough of the old world, that I actually want to get back into it, and I want to play the old world, like I once did with fantasy. So I'm trying to, like initially what I wanted to do in terms of building the last time I was on this channel was I was doing an AOS army, gave up on it, because fuck AOS right now. And I was doing a bunch of commemorative minis. So, like, I had all the Grombrindles, the Bugmans, that I was just cleaning up to put on a shelf. I'm not going to do that anymore. Not right now. So, the only thing I'm working on is my army. Ideally. Also, I need to be right back. 2 minutes. So, maybe I'll open up, like, a Instagram or something for it and get through that shit. What's up? What? Where? Yeah. Back in. Here. Here. Okay, I'm going back. We'll put a towel down if you want to do that. We'll put a towel down on the floor. Okay. Woo! All right, back. Ugh. All right. Whoa. Whoa. I'm going to go buy all of them. That is kind of pog. I'm not buying anything, though. I do appreciate the PSA, but my ass ain't buying any of that shit, I'll tell you. I'm already doing Warhammer, so there's like no way I'm doing it. Nah, I'm not even going to play Gladius. It's a waste. I'm genuinely never going to play that game. Genuinely never. It's just a waste of time. No, it's a waste, yeah. You know how much effort it is to get on Steam to download a game you don't care about? I've got to scrape plastic, god damn it. And that's what I'll be doing. I gotta build this here organ in my gun. It's gotta be finished. The Orman and gun. We're chilling, we're good. Good late night scraping of plastic. You know what I did today? I read. I do hate free stuff. Dwarves never take free things. Pirates, everyone knew they paid for what they wanted. Pirates were not thieves. Fire Warrior is currently $1 on GOG. Ooh, you're tempting me. Haven't decided yet. Yeah, well, the anvil is going to come back in metal. I do want to build an anvil because they're fun. Pretty sure people just spam, like... What do you spam with the anvil? Wrath and Ruin? I guess you could use anything, but, like... The anvil's kind of a shooting unit, right? Either a shooting unit or a supportive unit that buffs stuff. You got 3 days to decide. I got you, buddy. We'll see. I have been very busy as of late. Let me fix this camera. Yes. Everyone knows. Well, listen, I'm not going to sit here and sound like a boomer, but I'm sorry. I don't want to look at miniatures with too many details. For me, if you want a piece of artillery, look how simplistic this is. Look at that. It's just a cannon. It doesn't overthink. It doesn't try to be anything else. It's a dwarven cannon, and that's all it wants to be. The organ gun, it's an organ gun, and that's all it wants to be. The crew, just simple lads, bro. Simple little dwarves just working the beast. They know what they want to be. And for that reason, they're awesome. Super easy to figure out. Super relaxing to, like, paint. Well, I mean, there's a lot of good minis out right now. A lot of great looking minis. You're done? Did you paint? Give me 1 minute. You know, I was actually tempted today to go get a new Grombrindle. But then I'm like, you know what? The store is probably sold out, and I didn't bother phoning, so I didn't go. I believe outside of the new Grombrindle, I'm only missing the ones from like the 90s. Which I need all of them. Acting like clicking a few buttons is so time consuming. It's just like, dude, I gotta be on the other PC to do that. The other PC's like off. Like, brother. We'll see. You know, if it's free, okay, it gets to sit in the library and maybe never get played, but who knows? Right now, I'm not getting on that PC. Although I've had a hankering to play fucking Gangplank as Bankplank. Because I'm telling you right now, Bankplank GP is good as fuck. It's actually unironically good. And I think it's what's making Gangplank. I went from saying the champ sucked ass to basically thinking he's actually kind of fine. I went from saying he's good to garbage to good again. And it has everything to do with the runes, not the build. The runes, man, the runes. The runes on the anvil for Gangplank. Yeah, the duality of man. I mean, it really just boils down to like finding things that work and some things that don't. And for Gangplank, you know what works? Is making 1,000,000,000 gold for doing nothing. That's exactly what works. You have like 5 bonus sources of income and you just sit there laughing. It's absurd. Okay, I gotta go see Ivana again because she's about to paint a wall. So give me like 2 minutes again. I will be right back. I'm coming, women. A man's gotta intervene again. I gotta paint the damn wall. Hey. You know what you put on the ground? A shell. We're back. Yeah, she's painting a wall. She's painting a wall. So she needed help. Men, go in. Men, go in. Men, go in. Well, this looks much better. Not perfect, but like it's a good place to stop and scrape the next bit until I come back to this one to try and finish off. We love scraping plastic. First time painting an army, any recommendation for a newbie? What are you painting? Like, what's in your army? Because I've got a great recommendation for guard, I'll tell you. A really good recommendation. Mostly tanks? Oh, even better. Airbrush. Airbrush. Use an airbrush. If you got money for tanks, you got money for an airbrush. I'm talking $100 thing off Amazon, you're fucking good to go. Airbrush. Do not think of anything but the airbrush for, like, most of the base coating. Or even paintwork. Like, it will look amazing, and you'll be even happier with the result instead of sitting there with a brush. Airbrush. Don't even think twice. Thoughts on... some of it looked fine. Other stuff I didn't really care for. Like, I never played Mechanicus. I know the game was good, though, from what people said. Bolt Gun had DLC, so we're probably going to play that, maybe. There was a bunch of good stuff. Total War has the Corn Hound dude. $70 all-in-one airbrushes are enough. Exactly. Like $70 to $100, you're done. You do not need a good airbrush. The beginner airbrush off of Amazon is perfect, and when it comes to painting tanks or any big flat surfaces, you want simple stuff. Would spray primer still be good? Because I got that. That is a good point. What are you priming them with? Like, do you know what color you're going to make them? That's a good point, to be fair. Yeah, that's a good point. And the airbrush is not hard to use. Seems exciting if you're into that stuff. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, anything Warhammer is great, but, like, some people are diehards and some people just kind of appreciate it but don't care. I think I'm kind of in that boat. I appreciate it, but I don't care too much. Like, I'm still mostly just interested in old world dwarf made-to-order stuff. I don't spend any money right now at GW until then. Black primer GW has. Okay, so, I mean, what you could do is you prime it black, and then you take your airbrush, and you basically paint the entire tank with, like, what color you want, right? Yeah. Guard are really good for airbrushing. Essentially, what you're doing is you're blocking in. Yeah, go on Amazon and try and find one for like 70 to 100 bucks that's got good reviews. And whenever it comes to painting vehicles, you'll only use stuff like that. Even infantry, because I was painting up some guard, and I would use the airbrush for fatigues, I believe. Like I did all of their khakis and whatnot with an airbrush, and it just went on so smoothly. Same thing for like a Lehman Russ. Just anything, man. Anything you need a big, solid, smooth coat of, airbrushing kind of does that for you. It's excellent. Airbrush is good for Skaven, yeah. Like as an example, um, well, yeah, okay. What you could do is like prime them all black, and then you could basically go over them with like a brown for their fur, right, with an airbrush. And essentially, what that's doing is making sure your base coat, like your actual coat that you're working off of, being just brown or whatever color it is extremely smooth. It's going to go on like butter, and then everything else will basically just be brushwork, like details for eyes, teeth, so on and so forth. But I guess you could also say, well, why not prime them a brown? And you could do that too, I suppose. Maybe it's just the brown that you might want is not the one that you get in the aerosol can. Because the beauty of airbrushing is you can use any color. If it's thin enough to go through an airbrush, you can do it. Now we're done with the copter. It's in the case right now. We're working on an organ gun. That or you get a fat dry brush. Yeah, you could do that too. Great moments in gold in your life. I agree. I do agree. You know, when it comes to like hobbying, there's a lot of gimmicky tools out there that kind of like draw people in, but they're kind of crap. But the airbrush is one of like the mainstays that I think a lot of people should be doing. It's really good. You can't go wrong with airbrushing. Yeah, but right now we're building an organ gun, or we're in the process of like cleaning up an organ gun. I don't really know where the best use it. Again, like, do you have miniatures where there's a lot of a certain color on them? Airbrush the color. Do you have like, as an example, let's just say we're looking at the Sagittar. Essentially, what I would do is you prime it black, and then you're going over with this like tan khaki, whatever the fuck the color is. That's what you'd be airbrushing, right? And then you'd go in and pick out certain panels with like a different color. It's essentially what most of the model is what you should be airbrushing. Oh, which room of my house? The one with the window. Ventilation. The one with ventilation. The one with the window. Use the one with the window. This fucking mold line is so ugly. Holy. It doesn't even, in a way, it doesn't even look like a mold line, but I know it is. It's a little loud. Actually, not always, but it really does help hobbying. I'm not going to lie. It's awesome. Yeah, these are awful. These are just old, though. You know what's fucked up? Is with the organ gun returning, you're basically getting the exact same mold lines. Have fun, kiddies. Thank God I'm very patient and I can sit here for ages scraping this shit, so I'll make it look good. Yeah. I mean, some older things are just better than new things, you know? Let me ask you this. Does this kit look dated? Does this look dated? Or would you rather, like, you could, like, no way. The only thing that would even remotely look dated is how the arms are on the dwarves, right? Like, where they're just kind of, right? Just a little bit. But it's so good. Nothing about this screams, we can't sell it in our stores. Like, this shit looks awesome. I don't think it's aged enough to the point where, like, people dislike it. I think it's perfect. Those aged great. It's not like the Catachan. Yeah, those are pretty wild. Can't tell from an outsider. Well, it looks good. I think most people would agree it looks good. That kit came out 9 years ago. That's a 9-year-old sculpt. So, what? Ivana, you okay? All right. The fuck. I would love to see updated Catachan. So sick. Imagine like, well, you can kind of see them through like the commemorative minis, what they would look like. And it's insane that they never gave them an update, but they still kept them in the book. Like, what the fuck? Pre-end times, how you paint it really helps. Most of the, so 8th edition, right before the end times, brought in the Hammerers, the Iron Breakers, the Gyrocopters, the Bombers, the Dragon Slayer, Belagar, Rune Lord, Grim Burluxon, and they all look amazing. They look perfect. I love the way they look. And even the stuff that came before that, which was like 2005, 2006, with the Dwarf Miners, the Warriors, the Quarrelers, the Thunderers, the Cannon, Organ Gun. Such good sculpts. Super good. What? Okay, bear back. She's having a problem. Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back. What is it, woman? What do you want? What? I'll come back when it's. We're gonna clean this room. That's the side. All right. We're here. Play any other games for fun on the side? Games? Not really. No. All I do right now is do Warhammer and play League. Currently, that's all I'm doing. As of right now. So, two things I grew up with. Gaming and Warhammer. Continued in my adulthood? I think so. And these kits are going to take a while to clean up. Holy smokes, it's like you're just scraping the kit and making it new. It's like you're not even doing mold lines, you're just like remodeling the kit. Not bad. Thankfully, these things have absolutely no pieces. Pretty sure this alone, the gun in itself has less pieces than like a third of the gyrocopter. The gyrocopter is an absolute nightmare to build. It is not that fun. I am not going to lie. Wish I had time and money to do this stuff. Yeah, it's very tedious on all fronts. There's nothing about Warhammer that's like cheap in any aspect, unfortunately. The time it takes, the money it takes, the effort it takes. Not that it sucks, like, oh, the effort, but it kind of demands a lot of attention. It is no easy task to finish an army. It is a labor of love. A very long labor of love. Like, Jesus, man, I could probably spend days cleaning a miniature, days painting a miniature, doing the basing and everything, like, over a week to get one thing done. And that one thing is just, like, a piece of the puzzle. A cog in the machine compared to, like, all the other stuff you got to do as well. Takes to get an entire army done. Months, years. It just depends on, like, how fast you are at doing everything. Um, like, as an example, I'm not very fast at painting, but this guy probably took a couple of days from the basing to painting everything. And a couple of days is not, 24 hours, but like, sessions of a few 5-6 hours maybe. Like, you can do batch painting. You can kind of like have a bunch of the same unit and then paint every aspect of like one thing at a time. So for dwarves, one thing you could say is you have a bunch of guys lined up and you're painting all of their metallics, so the armor, and then you go through and do all the leather, and you go through and do all the golds and the bronze and the whatever, right? That will save you time. It is much faster to do that than like paint one mini at a time, obviously, but you know, there's also like the basing and figuring out what scheme you want to do and kind of keeping up with it all throughout the army. So some people paint multiple armies like it's nothing. Other people paint one mini a year, which is kind of where I'm at right now, just because I don't have time. It does take ages, yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, that is true. If you want to just play the game, it's not that bad because you can kind of just like throw a few coats of paint on it and call it done. But if you're more of a hobbyist like I am, I prefer to kind of like do things a little bit slower and figure out elaborate basing and whatnot, then yeah, it's a bit different. But again, just depends on what you're doing the hobby for. This looks like the shield generator on Hoth. There you go. The shield generator. What? You're done? You painted it again? Okay, give me 2 minutes. What? Yeah, 2 minutes. 2 minutes, woman. 2 minutes. I'm out here scraping an organ gun. You gotta give me some time. The organ gun waits for nobody. Jesus, what a nightmare this is. When it comes to cleaning up these mold lines, you essentially have to, like, reshape things. Because the mold lines are so thick, they just kind of, like, barrel through everything and, like, fuck them up. Like, what is even going on there? Barrel, GP reference. Yes, these are gangplank dwarves. Actually, there's a guy here who has a barrel. Nope. Is it here? There's supposed to be a barrel here. I guess it kind of looks like Gragas. There you go, right there. He's got a barrel. Okay. Let me go see Ivana again real quick. I'll be right back. Let's see what the problem is. It's always a bloody problem. Did you finish it? We are done. Which means I'm going to be done in about 6 minutes because it's midnight. And midnight means bedtime. Although that doesn't mean bedtime, it means clean time. Because we go to bed at 5 a.m. Bum, 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 bum. I feel like when it comes to half of these mold lines, it's like, what the fuck is a mold line? What isn't? Because they jut off in weird directions that look like they're part of the sculpt, but they're not. It's just so fucking weird. It is just too weird. I need different music. feel like this is probably the worst bit I've ever worked on in recent memory. This thing has the mold lines of like 50 minis. It's so ass. Why, Games Workshop? Why? You charge us body parts and you give us mold lines. This wasn't the agreement. Unholy. Yeah, it's bad. Pretty sure all the other parts of the kit aren't nearly as terrible. If anything, it's probably just the actual organ. Like the gun portion of it, the cannons. Nah, it's not bad. Yeah, this is probably the worst, actually. Pure ass. Maybe the drop pod. I feel like, well, it's definitely the older sculpts are a little bit jankier. Because the technology wasn't as good. Right? So, like, how much excessive plastic are you putting into the molds to make these thick-ass mold lines? Whereas now with technology and everything being weighed and measured and done over tenfold, it's like there's almost no excess whatsoever. I guess that's the idea. I think the biggest thing about cleaning minis, though, is there's some sort of like, what's the word? There's a sort of comfort knowing that, like, whatever you're doing is super easy and consistent. Whereas, you know, sometimes when you're painting, you're like, am I going to fuck this up? Cleaning minis has to be the most tedious part of the process, but, like, it's one that you can kind of fall back on every time and get the same experience. It's a consistency, but a very tedious one. Yeah, exactly. I don't blame you. I hate building, but I love converting. I guess everyone's different. Yeah, painting is fun once you've got it down and you kind of just know what you're doing in terms of like scheme because at that point you're not overthinking anything. But for people who aren't, it's like the worst thing in the world. It's like you spend all this time doing this stuff and now you're too scared to paint it. You just need that confidence and to go into it with a plan in mind. If you've got a plan and a color scheme, you're good. I would get it, yeah. It's probably the best Warhammer game to date. Total War Warhammer is, in my opinion, and not being biased here, because I love the old world and fantasy, it's the best 40K. Well, not 40K game, but it's the best Warhammer game, period. There will be more games coming out that might trump it, but, like, for what we have right now, it is the GOAT. It's the GOAT. I gotta get out of here. I should have left a few minutes ago, but essentially the 3-game bundle would be what? Number 1, 2, and 3. So the way the game works is that you buy 1, you get 1 content. You buy 2, you get 2's content. You buy 3, you get 3's content, and then they all make one big game with all of its content together. They're essentially DLCs. The goal is to have them all, for sure. 40K Total War? Yeah, for sure. You know, I love fantasy, but, like, for the scale of 40K, I think it would be a spectacle that, like, fantasy would never be able to hit. Warhammer, no matter what it is, it's always fucking expensive, man. The video games, the actual hobby, the time you put into it, everything about it just seems so fancy. Lots of time put into this hobby. Okay, I think I'm going to go scrape a different bit. I'm getting bored of this one, so I'll come back to it later. What are we missing? Ye Old Organ Gun. Probably these two. Oops. Bum ba bum 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 ba bum. Yeesh. I mean, easy to take care of, but like, yeesh. Lovely. I think a mold line that people sometimes forget exists is when it travels along the edge of a bit. So, like, you've got a mold line going through here, and it travels up this edge all the way over here. It goes up, and then it goes back over this edge. And what people don't realize is that if you don't scrape that, it's actually sharper. I don't know if it shows up. It's more raised on that side because there is excess plastic. So you do kind of have to scrape it. If you don't, your ancestors will not be pleased. Bum, 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 boom, boom, boom. Yeah, definitely. You know, when this album first came out, people hated it because it didn't sound like Trollfest, and it was in English, and it was more of a concept album. Um, I love it. You know, like yeah, you've got one-off songs like this that not necessarily Trollfesty, but it works for the story. Pina colada. Were they really? I mean, I could see that kind of. Sounds like something that would fucking blare in Inspector Gadget. I don't think this is how this goes. Well, it is, actually. No, not really. Yeah, they usually do like a in their Norwegian like English accents like like in this song we wanted to make a flamingo drinking and smoking. Yeah, I like their stuff. Yeah, exactly. I mean, people get inspired by a bunch of stuff, man. Movies, shows, universes. Inspiration is everywhere, man. Sometimes it's just worn on your sleeve. Cheapy's biceps, yeah. Adventure is fun. Fantasy, make believe, tales of heroism, of hearth and home, of sea monsters, of God knows what. Anything real world related is kind of like, well, back in the den, or sorry, back in the day, kind of rooted in like weird mythologies and tales of fucking God knows what. That shit's always fun. Yep. Yep. I mean, in the Burning Tides event, he's whittling away at a guy's bone. Basically, a giant chunk of the dude's leg was off, and he was like, um, I think it was called Scrimshaw. He's like doing ornate little patterns and shit on the guy while he's still alive in his bone. Like, yeah, GP's kind of a sick fuck, you know? But then he also does feed a child like some soup and food, you know, for giving him information. He's like, feed this kid and get him out of here. Give him a kraken on the way out. So he's a just man, right? He's not an entirely, you know, alien dude who's just fucking constantly angry and brutal. I think that's what people forget about Gangplank. It's like, yes, in the stories he's violent and cunning, and he's always about kind of just like dealing with shit head on. But he's still a dude, you know. When the Ruin King game came out, and there was this whole bit with like him and Alawi, it kind of showed more of the human side of him instead of that like ruthless pirate captain that feared nothing. And at the end of the day, I mean, any person can be broken down to that, right? Especially if you've lost anything, or rather everything, multiple times. So, I don't know. Cool character. Doesn't take many W's, but it is what it is. Or when he lost, I wouldn't say killing MF's parents isn't that low. It's terrible, but like it doesn't contribute. Okay, I guess it actually made him lose everything, realistically. But like, I mean, you talk about losing your kingdom, losing all your men, losing your fortune, losing the Battle of Wills with a fucking emo from over the seas. Like, I don't know. He just Gangplank doesn't take W's in lore. Essentially, Gangplank had only taken W's leading up to the point where he was so powerful, and then he only took L's. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, he was young, though. I feel like the older you get, the more sensible you are. And when Gangplank had commissioned those, he was pretty young. Not like, you know, 30 or something, but, you know, not clearly what he is now, which is like 60 or like 50 something. Like, it's bad, don't get me wrong. I mean, that would be cool. I mean, it makes sense that they would do more with Tiafin Graves just because of Pride Month. Like, otherwise they wouldn't give them stories because no one's getting stories. Um, but I doubt it, man. I don't think so. It would be cool to know more about every character, but they don't do that shit anymore. It doesn't make them money, right? They don't want to do anything. If it doesn't generate them money, they're not writing it. And there is no way a story generates any money. That shit is for the fans, and the fans either read it for free or they buy skins for money. Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, the thing about Bilgewater is that you'd base it on Bilgewater and then the Shadow Isles, so there could be that conflict, which is typical in lore. The Shadow Isles, reaches out and tries to claim souls every few years. That could be it, right? Or the internal struggle of like the dock gangs and misfortune to gangplank and whatnot. Because I feel like they'd really have to tell a story that hasn't been done. Or what they could do is just retell the story of the Burning Tides in a very cool way. Well, I'm sorry, but I don't think you're going to get more of that. Cool, but this is Riot we're talking about in 2024. I should be getting out of here soon. I mean, they're never... Listen, that's never going to be touched upon again. There's never going to be any of that. I mean, you know what you could do to segue into, like... Well, what would be nice is if they're doing Arcane Season 2, which they are. This is more of like Arcane Season 3. They're going to wrap up everything in Piltover and then probably go back to Noxus with that chick, Ambessa. Mel's mother. Big Mama. Actual Big Mama. I think that's what they'll do. Because she's even coming to League, and Boss is like a fan favorite, I suppose. Yeah, I think so too. Yep. That would be good. They're going to have Draven flirting with his throwing axes instead of women, though, because that's like censorship. That's how that works. He's going to be looking at his trophy. I don't know why they did that. It's just garbage. It's like you can't have a guy like, you know, risen up a woman. I don't know. I don't understand censorship. At least in that way. It just seems so pointless and stupid. Swain won't believe him. Yeah, I mean, it's just Noxus has a lot going on. Um, I don't know if I like the new Noxus compared to what it would have been with like Urgot and whoever. Forgot the old guy's name, the ruler at the time. Noxus has gone soft. That is true. Singed is cool, man. Seeing Singed in Arcane is like a fucking sick Easter egg. He has no reason to even be on any screen, even in League. And he's just cool. He's fucked up, man. Very fucked up character. But you kind of sympathize with him in the show, right? Like this guy sells gas to fucking Noxus to go like he's a war criminal. This guy's awful. But in the show, you know, with his daughter and whatnot, like how can you not kind of feel sorry for the guy? Well, compared to what they were at one point, it's a little bit soft. Yeah, I hope Mundo doesn't show up. Yeah. You know, yeah, it's true. Yeah. Yeah, the experiments and whatnot that they do on the children. I mean, is that not for the betterment of Noxus, though? Is that to not keep the nation strong and always on the move to make more Noxus? You know, I really wish Mordekaiser was the big baddie instead of Vigo. You know, but like instead we got a guy who wants to take over the world in like a Hot Topic t-shirt, or not even a t-shirt. The guy's not even wearing anything. Like Mordekaiser trying to take over everything? Yikes, you'd be in trouble. And he looks menacing. Bro's basically fucking Sauron, right? It's too much like Lord of the Rings. Make the big bad guy look like he's 18. Yeah. But I mean, it's more of like stopping him for a time instead of, completely getting him out of the way. Send him back to the Death Realm. See you in 20 years. Or maybe a couple hundred or thousand, actually. And then on top of all of that, you've also got, like, the Void. So good luck with that as well, if that ever becomes a thing. Yep. The Immortal Bastion. Yeah, Mordekaiser's cool as fuck. I met Fred Tatascore, the voice of Mordekaiser. I didn't have him sign anything Mordekaiser related, but he did sign me a Graves print and a Bane print. And he's a very nice guy. My Queen Vigo. Just Vigo looks fucking stupid. Period. Vigo just looks so dumb. Some decisions are purely for a specific audience and nothing else. Like Vigo is Coomer bait. He's like that bad boy you don't fuck with. Very disgusting to look at. Everything else about him is great. It's just they really fucked up his aesthetic. It just looks so garbage. Doesn't look like anything believable at all. Unfortunately. The human, I think it's called King Vigo or Prince Vigo or something. That skin's awesome. Because it looks normal. It looks like it belongs. But then when you've got regular Vigo, it's like, yeah, we just made this for Twitter. Give the people what they want. The people want Twitter Vigo outfit. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the biggest thing for me is that his lore is great. You just got to sell. You can't sell one thing as believable and then turn around and be like, this is how he looks. And then you read his lore and you're like, what? This is the same guy? Why does he look this way? Okay, I have been scraping for a little bit longer than I should have, but I've actually got a couple of pieces done, or mostly done. I need to go, folks. We've been here for almost 3 hours. I said I would end about an hour ago, and now it is time to leave. So, with that being said, I do have to go. Rel is cool. I mean, all those experiments are cool, but like, we'll see what, you know what I'm going to say to this? We'll see what the MMO does with it, because right now, they're not pursuing stories. They're only going to give a character a bio, and that's it, and a little story to go with them, but they're not going to make anything in between. So if you want to see some conflict played out and it be canon, you're probably going to have to wait for the MMO. Or wait for Arcane. Those two things will be canon and will provide like whatever the fans want, but outside of that, they're not doing anything. And I think also the reason they can color stories and kind of like bringing out more things to read is that it might fuck with the actual continuity of things, right? Because like, I guess you could base the MMO off of the short stories and whatnot that were made, like in reference, but I suppose with authors, sometimes it just doesn't work out. Anyways, I'm out of here. Folks, take care of yourselves. Be well. Yes, it is delayed for about 5 years. So, you know, when cars can fly, I guess we'll see the MMO. All right, guys. Peace. Take care. Have a great night, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace, folks. Oh, you know what? Can I host someone? I think the Warhammer side of Twitch is kind of chill. I don't mind hosting somebody. I just don't know who. Let's host this guy. Isn't it raid now? Raid. If it doesn't work. Unrecognized command. Ah, it's fucked up. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, I'm out of here. Peace, folks.